that's really, really good. I didn't. Okay. Note here. This can be the real episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the one about Godzilla movies. I just took a drink of my beverage of choice here this evening. New Holland Brewing. They're a beer beverage company here,
well known in the Midwest.
Michigan. They're from well known in the Midwest. They have a line called Dragon's Milk. It's a stout.
Heard of it? Barrel
aged. Very, very good. Very, very dangerous. Especially if you start having multiple of them. So there's that. And then there's a coffee company here in Grand Rapids, also kind of famous, known as Madcap Coffee. Oh. And they have a Dragon's Milk Reserve coffee chocolate collab.
Wow.
That I have just cracked open and taken a sip of, and it is very, very tasty.
How old is it? Is this the kind that you've kept for a while, or is it like a recent batch?
No, it's a recent batch.
Okay.
They age it for however long, but I just saw this at the store a couple days ago. But it's like, it was a 4-pack and it was like $22. I was like, okay.
Wow.
We're going to take this seriously. And it's like 11% too. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's very, very tasty.
Yeah,
stout with Madcap oat coffee and chocolate.
I had a roommate here. He was really into all the barrel aged stuff, and he would get like the stuff from like Goose Island in Chicago would have like these reserves, and it'd be the kind of thing where you'd sit on it for a year or two before you crack it open, like almost like wine. Like there's an optimum amount of time to wait, or like the right year to open it for the kind of flavor you want. I know very little about it, but
yeah.
So
well, the brewery right at the end of my road here, like literally less than a mile from my house, Don't Be Creepy. They have a line of
I'm getting in my car right now.
They have a line of bourbon barrel aged stuff called No Rules. And they are always like cracking open. Like I was there a few days ago to pick up some food, and they had No Rules from 2023 on draft. Like just a random keg of 2023 open, So it's cool. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the one about Godzilla movies.
Yeah. Definitely not the one about beer, but somehow. No.
It is about Godzilla movies, and anywhere our diagnosed and undiagnosed ADHD takes us.
Undiagnosed.
Not purposefully,
right?
But because of who we are. We are here for our penultimate episode here. If you've clicked on this, you know this is, checking my records, episode 38, our penultimate finale episode for now. Episode 39 will be our finale for now. But as we stated last episode, there are 2 confirmed Godzilla movies that are going to be coming out in the next 12 months. Maybe longer. We'll see. We have Godzilla -0 that's coming out in November 2026. That's going to be exciting. Mm-hmm. And there's not a release date, but sometime next year is going to be the next MonsterVerse movie that will be coming out.
They've at least said March of 2027.
I think that may have been a rumor. I'm not sure. We'll see. There's also...
You were right.
Maybe I'm wrong. There are for sure rumors of a sequel to Shin Godzilla, but those are just rumors at this point. Yeah. I know that they want to do it. We'll see when it happens. So for now, today we are revisiting the MonsterVerse. And so there will be a new movie in this series coming out next year. But so today we rewatched the MonsterVerse movies. So this would be Godzilla 2014, the first one. King of the Monsters from 2019. Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021. And Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, which came out 2024. And that one we were able to both see in the theater, actually, which was fun early on in this podcast history. So we've talked about all these movies before, but when we started the podcast, I had not seen all of the Godzilla movies, and now I have seen all the Godzilla movies. So I don't know what your note taking looks like, Caleb, but as I was going through these, I just kind of put down a category called things of interest. And then I just wrote down anything that just stood out to me as being like related to the lore of Kaiju world, or in this case, Titan world, as they call it.
Okay.
Just anything lore related is kind of what I wrote down.
Yeah.
You know, my opinion on the movies, we've already talked about. The stuff I would change, you know, we've already talked about it. We don't necessarily need to rehash that stuff. There are things I liked and didn't like about all four of these movies. 2014 is still one of my favorites out of all of the ones that I've seen. I'd say probably in my Mount Rushmore top 4, which we'll talk about next time in the next episode. But MonsterVerse.
Yeah, we'll save that. We'll save that for the show. I was going back through. I was trying to see if I had any of my notes from when we watched them
from last time.
Yeah, but it looks like I don't.
Yeah, I could definitely pull up my notes from the first time around. I did actually take a glance at all 4 of them as I was kind of putting in a new review on Letterboxd here, just to see what I said 2 years ago. Some time has passed, you know.
It sure has.
It was a lot of yep. I agree with what I said 2 years ago. I agree with my rating of 2 years ago. My opinion hasn't changed. One of these 4, I almost bumped down, but I left it where it was in terms of overall rating.
Nice. Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, I think I watched 2014 and I took some notes about that.
Okay.
And then I wrote down the title King of the Monsters, and then that is blank. And then I wrote down the title Godzilla versus Kong, and then after that is blank. And then there's nothing else. So, but I have thoughts about stuff, but like I didn't really take any notes this time around.
As I say things, you'll remember stuff that you noticed. And
and I kind of just want to, I feel like this is an addendum and just kind of a overall like vibe check of the legendary stuff. You know, like for me, I am going to kind of, I think, approach this as a vibe check, like how they're doing in terms of the entire franchise. And exactly. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, we definitely, like, we don't need to go through the plot of all of them. We can just kind of go through like the bullet points of the things we noticed. But as I was writing things down, or as I was seeing things on screen again, I was like reminded of the first time we talked about them and things that you were pointing out or recognizing as like deep cut references or things that I didn't really know about then, but stand out a little bit more obviously now. And I can appreciate it a little more, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Lore heavy stuff. I'll tell you right now, I have the most amount of notes from King of the Monsters, second most from 2014, and then I don't have a lot of notes for the 2 most recent MonsterVerse movies.
Yeah, the two Kong ones,
which yeah.
King of the Monsters is on my Rushmore, so that's one of my top 4. So
do you have your top 4?
Cool that we ended up with.
Or are we gonna keep? Keep that for next episode.
I'm gonna. Yeah. We'll keep it for the next episode.
Okay, we'll talk after.
It may be in the Patreon of this one, but
let me ask you this:
the next episode,
will I be rewatching, or will I have rewatched your top 4 to the best of your knowledge?
Will you have rewatched it?
Yeah, in terms of ones we're planning to rewatch for our finale episode.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
We can also talk about it after as well.
I think, I need to firm up my 4th choice. It's like
there you go.
3 that
hard
are solid, and the 4th one is like, pretty hard to choose.
Right.
So
Godzilla 2014 is one of my 4 for sure. So for our finale episode, I know that I'm rewatching 3 more movies for sure. Okay. And then if you have one that's different than those 3, I'm happy to add a 4th.
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk about my 4, talk about your 4, however you want to do it. And we'll get there. But let's talk about MonsterVerse 2014. Yeah. very much enjoyed rewatching this movie. It's kind of like a nice perspective now, rewatching it kind of at both at the start and the end of the journey, sort of. Because it was like the first one that I ever saw. I didn't know anything about
even
Godzilla when I saw this movie.
So
I was in college,
on a whim, right?
2014. I had a friend or maybe multiple people who like had heard this movie was coming out. They must have known something about Godzilla more than I did. And they were like, dude, they're making a Godzilla movie. We should go see it or whatever. I don't even remember who I saw it with. I think I might remember the person who told me about it. But I saw that movie in the theater, and I thought it was awesome. I liked it a lot. At the time, more so in the years prior to when I saw it, I was like really into like movie scores, listening to soundtracks for movies. Still love them. The second that movie started, when I was rewatching it the other day, I was just reminded with, oh wow, like I know this movie score really well. I've listened to it a lot. I know the theme.
Nice.
It is an original score. It doesn't have any of the Godzilla themes in it. I don't think that, unless I missed something. Maybe like slight homages, but it's pretty much an original,
there's nothing that's
original
just
American movie, like from scratch.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this next time. And it's like, it's a modern movie. It's serious. There's some science to it. It's like very like cinematic oriented, but it's just kind of like visually and thematically mysterious and kind of just badass. And so I rewatched this, I think for the first time. I watched it in 4K this time, and it was crispy. It was real nice.
Nice.
It was a good watch. So yeah, good stuff. I like the music. Strong start. Stuff I wrote down. So I'm paying close attention to things about Monarch, the organization, as I rewatch all of these. I'm watching season 2 of Monarch, the show, right now. So I definitely like wrote down some things of like connections to the world they're trying to build there, and also throughout these movies, there seem to be some things in the show that they're kind of retconning a little bit, or things that don't seem to be very compatible, and it's interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, right off the...
Which is kind of, I mean, it's to be expected, I would think. You know, some of this stuff, we've seen it with Star Wars, we've seen it with Marvel. Like, these people write themselves into a corner sometimes and have no choice but to be like, let's just get hand wavy on this for a second, you know?
Yeah. They talk about Monarch doing nuclear testing in the opening titles. It's like a part of the opening titles. They kind of created a really cool graphic look for the titles and how they were going to present the information and images on screen, that they did a good job of carrying through all 4 of these films. I like that. So, you know, like we talked about last time, I think, the idea of like the MonsterVerse, like nuclear, whatever they were doing, more like woke up or revealed Godzilla rather than created. Yeah. It's more like whatever was happening there, Godzilla already existed. So we know later on there's this idea of the Hollow Earth, and that's where like these titans kind of came from, further inside the Earth. So we can presume that's where Godzilla came from. But he wasn't really supposed to be up here, and he ended up here. We learn later on, is it in this movie? I forget where I wrote it down. At some point, they reveal that the atomic testing they were doing back in the 50s was them trying to kill Godzilla. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
And the cover-up was they're doing nuclear testing, but really, they were trying to kill Godzilla, is what they were trying to do. Yeah. And we see that in the first season of the Monarch show play out a little bit. But there are some some throwback clips of nuclear testing in this movie, and once you add that context, it's a little different. Kind of cool. Yeah, Just like the first time we talked about this, Ken's character is called Serizawa. That's the eye patch guy who was in far too many Godzilla movies.
Too many.
So there's a loose connection there. So I guess the pro of that is cool. We have a link back to like the historical franchise. The con is his character really doesn't do anything or serve much of a purpose in any of the movies he's in, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
He has a little bit more of a role to play in King of the Monsters, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, because he ends up like sacrificing himself and everything, but like he is very much the like steady, slow, like we need to be in awe of these things and studying them and just kind of like he's always advocating for just letting Godzilla do his thing. Just let him. Yeah. And I think he also like, and he's the influence on what's his face's character in the next movie. Well, Kyle Chandler, like his he's the influence on him, like his constant, like, let them fight, let Godzilla do his thing rubs off on him, on Eric Chandler. And that just kind of like eventually permeates into what we see in the Kong movies where Monarch's kind of getting to do their own thing. And there's all these like bases set up for them to be able to do like the Hollow Earth transport and whatever. But like, yeah, he doesn't like directly do a whole lot other than just like study and collect and just kind of be this like the advocate for nature, I guess. So, yeah, which is a very like, it's, you know, I guess instead of, I'm just kind of thinking about it, it's instead of like trying to put a negative stigma on, like, you know, we created Godzilla or some kind of like environmental negativity thing. It is that like he's always been here. Godzilla can restore balance. We need to be respectful of that. And that approach to him is what, you know, it's very Japanese and very like, I feel like I said this the last time too, that it almost feels like they tried to like, what is the right word? Not save Serizawa, but like just kind of give him a more positive spin this time in the franchise. The like Dr. Serizawa character in general, because he believes in Godzilla and isn't trying to get rid of him, you know? So
sure.
Redemption arc. That's what
ultimately he lasts a movie and a half.
Yeah.
He has a primary role in this film for a bit, and then pretty quickly gets relegated to being a sideline character. He's not really in charge most of the time.
No,
he's just kind of there, and he has a line of exposition, and then he's just kind of standing there in the room with all the other decision makers. So, it would have been cooler to see him be more of like a protagonist or someone who's really in charge at Monarch and can make decisions. But still cool. There's a quote, I forget who said this, but I thought it was funny looking back on like the American remakes of Japanese movies. Someone said, quote, "I can't call this meeting and look like the American maniac." I don't remember what the context was. I've already forgotten it. But
it's Cranston. About the weird readings that they're getting at the plant. He's on the phone with Takashi at the beginning of the film. Yep.
And I just thought that was funny with all the cheeseburger bang bang comments we've made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And especially because it's like, it's him. It's Bryan Cranston, you know, like.
Yeah. Do you remember the trailers for this film? This is I don't remember if we talked about this when we first watched the movie, where like the trailer was built around Bryan Cranston. Yeah. And then he was just like,
made it seem like the movie would be built around Bryan Cranston. No. Yeah.
In fact, it seems like he dies like a quarter of the way in the movie. He doesn't. Mm-hmm. But he's kind of like on the side for another quarter, and then he's for sure out.
Yeah.
I just remember being a little blindsided by that. It's a super off topic, but When I saw this movie, and then Avengers Ultron the year after, it was really funny to see Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen playing
Oh yeah,
a couple in this movie, and then literally a year later playing twins, brother and sister.
Yeah.
It's just really funny.
You made
Very different
comments about that at the time too.
Yeah, it's very
this is
different dynamic.
weird.
Acting. I mean, they had chemistry, but I think we get our first mention partway into this movie of the idea of bioacoustics.
Yeah,
They haven't fleshed out the
Cranston's
idea
character he's studying, like Cranston drops this, like
He uses the term.
I've been researching this idea of bioacoustics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that written down as one of the things for.
Yeah, so this isn't all lore related, but it's like, my point is comparing these films to everything that has come before. So it might be references, or it might be things that are new ideas. One thing that's new in this movie is the idea of some compelling human characters who are on the outside of what's going on in the government. I think like every Godzilla movie prior to this one,
Almost every Godzilla movie.
yeah, like
yes.
all of the characters are on the inside of what's really going on.
Are on the outside and then are brought in because
Within
they
the
have a
first
skill
8
that
minutes
the
of the movie,
government
yes.
needs. Exactly. It's
Like-
like, hey, we mysteriously know that you're perfect for this. Come here.
Right, so we're used to seeing like, you know, politicians and decision makers and military organizations, people arguing about what to do, making decisions, making plans, do all that kind of stuff. Well, the new idea in this movie is, hey, there's this organization. Well, we don't know there's an organization over there, but there's this idea of the government's covering something up and they're lying to us and they're not telling us the truth. You know, they're saying like there's a nuclear meltdown, but there wasn't really. You know, they're hiding this creature and they're studying it. That's really what's going on. But we don't find that out for a while. So we do get to sit in the perspective of the general public a little bit in this movie before we are brought onto the inside of what's really going on, which is a nice change. I really like that. This movie, I would say, based on my previous and rewatches, this movie is really the only one of the 4 that has like some like real character or storytelling and relationships outside of the idea of the kaiju. There's like some actual like things going on between characters, meaningful relationships, those kinds of arcs. The rest of the movies, the humans are shoehorned in. They are barely a structure to get the kaiju on screen as soon as possible and have kaiju things happen. They're just there to serve that goal rather than them have a reason to be on screen in the rest of the movie. So this one stands out as, I think, having some meaningful human storytelling. One of the reasons I like it.
Yep.
Especially
And
with
I think that
so many like human POV perspectives of things that are going on with the scale. Like you kind of get an idea of what it's like to be that person in that place and experience the things that are going on in San Francisco or Hawaii or whatever.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the guy who directed this movie, Gareth Edwards?
Yeah, I am familiar with him more now than probably I was then.
More now. Yeah. Well, this was only his like second major movie. His first one was one just called Monsters. And it is very like,
I think we talked about this last time. You've seen this or no?
But it's very, yes, I have. It's very like tropey monster movie where like you don't see it very much. It moves past the screen real quick. Everything's dark, or you know what I mean? But like he brought that feel to this movie, and I think those two things, though, like there's an actual human story in that movie that's good too. And that's just, like, those things are a Gareth Edwards MO in my opinion. Like he had some kind of actual human relationship going on, even though there are still monsters trying to take over the world or something. And those kind of like down low, like human perspective. Some of them almost feel like found footage sometimes shots, like where there's a camera just laying on the ground or something.
Do you ever see the creator?
He does a really great job of that. No, I've heard it's really good.
It's a really interesting aesthetic. Yeah, he got his start in doing visual effects, so he comes from that background.
Yeah.
So as a director, he understands planning around how visual effects will be used in an effective way in advance, and I think you can tell in this movie that he has that background. Yeah. He also. Yeah. The thing I knew him the most for was he directed Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, which is like one of the best Star Wars movies to ever be made.
Yep.
They knocked
that movie out of the park, dude.
Oh, it's incredible.
So good.
Have you watched Andor?
Yep. Nope, not yet.
Okay, we'll talk.
Why? Because I have other things. But yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about it after. We'll talk about Andor afterwards.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. Gareth Edwards, good. He also did the most recent Jurassic World movie. Which,
I just saw the...
Yeah, it was received okay. I think it was better than some of the other Jurassic World movies.
It's cool.
I did actually have written down here that they said the Godzilla was woken up by a submarine. That was like their kind of explanation initially in this movie.
Oh, in this one? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They build on the idea of getting into Hollow Earth in the next one, and I think they are sort of talking about tunnels in the ocean to get around the world, like deep in the water. They haven't really expanded that to being like a portal anywhere. It's more like the unexplained deepness of the ocean is sort of how we're hand waving it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was the first seed they planted for that idea.
Yep.
Which would explain like why he was there and how he was quote woken up. Yeah. I love the idea that this is like the first time in a while the scale really shifts with everything. Like Godzilla is huge. I don't know how big he was in Final Wars, but he didn't look really that big, just the way they shot it. It's really all about how you shoot it.
Well, like this Godzilla is like canonically one of the biggest.
So just even where we see like his, what do we want to call them? Fin scales, tail spikes, back spikes. What's the right word? The spikes off his back. Spines,
fins, dorsal fins.
The way they poke out of the water and the waves and effect of the water, just even as he's swimming out at sea, the effect that he has is massive.
Yeah.
And then when he first comes ashore in Hawaii, it literally like causes a mini tsunami. Like that's how big he is.
Yeah.
Like the entire city's just flooded. He hasn't even like walked through it yet.
Well, and there's the bit before they even realize he's coming. That little girl wanders down to the beach, and all the water's receding, and there's fish
and
like flopping up on the beach, and the dog's going nuts, and the water recedes a whole bunch, and then
it
swells and starts to come back in. Yeah,
like a tsunami,
according to the Internet Science Machine, real quick, in Godzilla Final Wars, he is 328 feet tall, approximately 100 meters, and weighs 55,000 tons. And in the MonsterVerse, he is 108 meters tall, which is approximately 355 feet.
Wait, the first one was Final Wars?
Yeah, Final Wars, he was 328.
Okay. And then
100 meters, and then 108 meters in Legendary, in the MonsterVerse.
Okay. It's really all about how you shoot it, really.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the Muto on the runway, and then the camera panning over, shooting through the glass, and then just the foot stomp. And you just get this idea of how big these things are. That scene is elite. And there's just explosions everywhere. And there's a lot in the shots in this movie. I feel like I said this last time. I'm repeating myself. But a lot of shots shooting through glass from inside. You get like this sort of like POV of a limited view of what's happening. You see like, 1 square meter of the side of his body or something.
Yeah.
And you sent me an image. And I've
just sent you an image to describe. This is a podcast that is largely an audio medium. So for those of you not watching, this is a visual, realistic height chart of all of the different Godzillas, everywhere from 50 meters up to 118.5 meters in height.
Wow!
So
I see 2001 on here. I don't see 2004. Is that supposed to be the same size? Maybe not.
He's 100 meters, so I guess they don't necessarily go by every single year. It's just the actual height changes.
Was also 100 meters.
91. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can see. I hadn't really noticed it before, but this is relevant to this conversation. Just the number of spikes and the way the spikes are laid out on our MonsterVerse Godzilla. Like way more spikes. Yeah. They run
way more
they
spikes,
run all the way to the top of the head.
Way more densely
like
laid
most
out.
Of them, the spikes start maybe at the shoulder blade. So interesting. Incredible.
This kind of stuff is so fun. This is why I like all this, why I like these movies.
Amazing.
A couple of things I had written down about this movie was I've never looked it up, and I really should. Maybe it's never even talked about, but that opening scene in the Philippines where the cave has collapsed and they call in Dr. Serizawa and they find the Muto pod. And it's like
Dude, that reminded me of Alien.
Eggs. Yeah. Oh, big alien vibes. They had laid eggs in this skull or in the skeleton of a dead kaiju. And I want to know what kaiju that was supposed to be, who was dead there.
Did you find it?
No, I've never looked it up. I really should. That's just what I have written down.
There's no time like the present.
In the classroom. So we're now in Japan. Bryan Cranston has just the reactor has just gone crazy. There's the explosion, and they cut to the school where his kid is, where Ford is in school, and the teachers, they're working on something, and there's a big poster on the wall behind her of an anatomically correct moth that is totally Mothra, just from the art. Yeah, art style of it. We talked about Cranston saying that he's studying bioacoustics, which would end up being how they control the monsters in King of the Monsters. And then that's what ends up being, I don't know if you noticed this, but I noticed this time through in Godzilla versus Kong. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the Mechagodzilla, the eye, whatever the one eye was that when he rips the building open in Pensacola, Florida or whatever, and the one crazy conspiracy dude is right there, and it exposes that pulsing red orb. It's making the same noise as the whatever that little thing was that they carried around to make the frequency noises in King of the Monsters, that weird walk sound. And that's why it kept why Godzilla could always find it. I just noticed that it was the same noise.
The sound.
Yeah. What else did I have written down from this movie? Oh, Bryan Cranston delivering that line, "Something killed my wife," when they pick him and Ford up after they've gone back into the like fallout zone all those years later, like when Ford's an adult.
In the little
his
room.
delivery of that, he's in that little room, like, you give me the boss. I want the real. Like, that is easily one of like probably the best human performance in the entire franchise. Like, period.
Oh, for sure.
Just the most emotional, real. Yeah, just absolutely.
And my thought when I saw that moment was like, how do actors do it? How is this moment, this character, so distinct from Malcolm the Middle Dad and Breaking Bad? How are those characters all completely different humans played by the same person? Like, they're so distinct.
And it's not like that. I mean, it's not like I doubt he had months and months and months with this. You know what I mean? Like, I doubt he had a whole lot of time to sit there and think about who this character was going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
True.
That'd be something cool to be able to ask him. Yeah. Oh, I remember. So the first time I saw this, I saw it with my dad and my brother Aaron. And when Godzilla makes his first actual appearance, like, comes in and like fights that Muto in the bay in Hawaii, and then that scene kind of like ends kind of abruptly.
Yeah.
My dad stood up in the theater and went, "Hell yeah!" and like pumped his fist in the air.
Incredible.
Absolutely incredible.
I love that scene.
R.I.P. Scott.
Amazing.
Yeah, I wrote down also that, like you said, like they do a really great job of conveying scale. Like the Mutos are big, but Godzilla is just massive.
Yeah, dude, the sound design on the Mutos is really interesting too. They give a lot of moments to like where it's quiet and they get like bop, 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 the clicking sound almost.
Yeah, dude. Oh, and I have written down, this is the next thing I've written down, is that moment where they're transporting the warhead on the train and the female Muto is there and like they're walking out over that bridge and she's like real close to them on the train tracks and doing all the like clicky stuff. Yeah, passing underneath, and they're like laying there freaking out. But like the start of that, they walk out on the bridge, and Ford says like, "Okay, we're all good, all clear." And then behind him in the shadows, you just see big, like the Muto just move very silently, just shift
slightly
behind him.
Yeah. You know what it is?
Dude.
This movie is shot like it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
None of the other ones
like
in this franchise are shot that way.
54 is supposed to be, and kind of like,
it's like
exactly.
it's supposed to be scary,
like a modern horror, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like it. It just kind of ditched that concept really quickly going into the follow-up films, but dude, the scene where the Muto just bombs that ship and just goes literally dive bombs the ship.
Yeah.
The sheer size. Like, that's such a great way to sell scale. Like, we have an idea of how big this boat is, and then it just, you just see the wide of it just dive bombing the ship. It's like 4 times bigger. Just the wingspan is 4 times bigger.
Massive.
So huge.
So great. I loved how like how that warhead plan, it didn't work. Not only did it not work, but it failed spectacularly.
Oh yeah.
Like, not only did they not get those things delivered by train, but the Mutos took them and fed their babies with them, and almost like just eat it up. Yum. Yeah, dude. And I mean, I've really forgot, and it was kind of cool to see it happen across all 4 films. There's a lot of pretty good, like, gory, like, kill moves, like, finishing moves in these movies. Like,
some head ripoffs.
Whether it's, head ripoffs, Godzilla in this one finishing the second Muto by, like, ripping its mouth, like, pinning it down, ripping its mouth open, and just atomic blast.
Goes to work.
Until its body falls away and he's left holding its head in his hands. Like, ugh.
Incredible.
Absolutely brutal. Yeah.
I think this is because of Gareth's background, but the use of volumetrics in this movie, like the fog and the haze and all of it,
Yeah.
it's not a gimmick and it's not laziness. You'll see reviews that suggest that it is. I disagree.
I remember that being a topic at the time, how it felt to
it's because people went to the movie wanting to see the wide shot of the two kaiju wrestling with each other, like all of the old films.
Exactly.
And that's not what this movie is. I think the volumetrics actually help sell the scale of things. Because the way like the clouds move, when you see a distinct shape of something moving, but it's far enough away you can't see it, but you can see the shape of it, the silhouette, like you can see where the top of it ends because the light reflects off of the fog. That's how fog works. It's like a giant diffusion thing. So all of the light that there is in the city reflects off the fog and allows you to see the edges of things even when they're quite a bit obscured. And it also like the through line in this whole movie is like mystery. There's a mysterious vibe to this movie.
Yeah.
And it helps everything stay mysterious. And it looks real, like all the fog and the volumetrics and like the visual effects in this movie are really well done. And they're pretty good in the next three movies, but they're not as good. Not as good. You could tell it's a different pipeline, different direction. It's not like this movie is very intentional, and I'm just assuming that Gareth went in with a pretty clear vision and pretty clear storyboards and exactly what everything was going to be and how it was going to be, and that gives the visual effects artists time to like really do their best, and it looks great.
Well, and he. To build on that, probably like knew that this was going to have to, like this movie was going to need to be like effects heavy, and they were going to help with the storytelling. And like you said, his background, he knew they were going to need to have that time in order to pull this off. And there was a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure that like Toho had even given them the go ahead to try this again, you know, like there had been, I guarantee you there was a lot of money spent just to even let this see the light of day, you know, by Warner Brothers or whoever to Toho. And I think that like the continuing success of the franchise and the growth is because they nailed this one and are just continuing to roll it out from there and are not making terrible movies. They're not, like you said, I agree that like this one nails a tone and a theme and a feeling that I love for a modern Godzilla movie, and I wish they'd continued, but hats off to,
I love it,
to Counselor Gareth, Counselor Edwards, Counselor. All right, dude, let's keep it moving. We're 50 minutes in. Things. Okay.
There's not going to be as much to say about the last two movies. If you ask me.
That's true.
You don't have any notes, and I have not a lot.
That's fair. Fine.
This will actually probably be a shorter episode. I noticed two things. One is the atomic breath is clearly patterned off of flame gun. What the heck do you call that?
Flamethrower?
Thank you. Thrower is the word I was looking for. It's like a flamethrower. It is like the simulation of it is like a flame that is being propelled at speed. Like if you held up like a aerosol can and like lit it and did that whole thing. It looks like a flame, almost dragon-like. You know, they play with the dragon idea a little bit, maybe, like in the movements, but it has like that flame-like quality to it. Instead of just being kind of like a lasery, kind of vague brightness without it. Like I love that they patterned it off of flame because it like makes sense.
And you saying that made me think of when I was like very little and first started seeing these movies, and I made a comment to my dad of how they must. Oh, okay, well I'll back up first. So have you ever seen the big like propane like torches you can take for like camping or whatever, where you like click it and it makes the like noise and like a big blue flame shoots out of the tip of it, and you screw on like a camping size like can of propane to the bottom of the little deal. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do I need to send you a photo?
Yeah, send me a photo. I'm familiar with a propane powered gas lantern that we used when we were camping when I was a kid.
Just like a good old little like basic torch kit, like just a little propane torch. Let me tippy toe lemon tree. This is gonna, if you have this in your mind, it'll help with the illustration. Okay, and I will also I'll try and just pop it in here on the show. So a little just like propane torch.
Sure.
And when you light that, it burns blue, just like propane burns blue, just like it does, your grill or whatever. When I was little and first seeing these, so my dad always used one of these to like light the grill. He would put a bunch of charcoal in one of those like chimney things and prop it up on a brick and then stick that torch underneath the chimney and just like light it and let it go for 5 minutes, and that would just, get the charcoal going, and then he'd dump that in the grill. So I start watching these Godzilla movies and I say, hey, Dad, I wonder if they made that, like they make Godzilla's breath by using one of those torches that you use. Was my like little kid, like even at that age, trying to figure out how they did this kind of stuff. Like that shows how my brain works. I've always been trying to like, I look at things and I go, how did they do
fire? How do?
So I have made fire. I have made fire. Tom Hanks.
Another reference?
I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's an up and coming artist.
Up and coming artist.
Actor.
The artist formerly known as Thomas Hanks.
Yes.
Unrelated. I just watched a whole interview the other day with, his brother voices Woody in like everything that's not a main Pixar Toy Story movie. Mm-hmm. Like how he made a living
like
off
all the
it.
TV, like off
everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of like Disney World stuff, because there's so much Woody voice when you like are going to Disneyland and Disney World. Anyways. Final thing I noticed, there's a moment in the fighting where you do really get to kind of see both Mutos fighting with Godzilla, and the one that flies, the choreography of how she's engaging with Godzilla reminds me a bit of like Mothra back in the day. In terms of like your playbook of like how does a winged character fight something that's on the ground and is standing on two legs?
Yeah, swoop in and like attack with the legs.
There were some movements there that like
hits or whatever.
I could swear that they like almost frame by frame were looking at a reference of Mothra fighting,
and
it
like, wouldn't surprise me. Like why not
use that as a reference? There was just a moment where it reminded me of that. I'm like, a thing that I didn't have in my head the last time I watched this movie. I wonder if they were drawing on that.
Yeah.
So great movie. Love it.
I love that.
Still one of my favorites. King of the Monsters.
Yeah. King of the Monsters. Dude.
I have the most notes on this one.
Cool. I will say this is in my top 4.
Okay.
I'm planning to actually watch the top 4 for our next episode and take really good notes about those.
Nice.
But this one, like we said, was just kind of like a overall vibe for me, is an overall vibe check of the MonsterVerse. King of the Monsters is my favorite. Why are you digging?
I accidentally
title?
I'm spinning a bottle. Next to me. I'm playing spin the bottle with myself.
It's like, why are you digging?
I didn't even ding that hard. I just bumped it.
So I
knew I
like this movie because it's like, there's so much lore. There's so much lore building. But they also they went deep on all of the references. Got like Ghidorah being in ice.
That reminded me of Final Wars with Godzilla being in ice.
Yeah. Rodan being born out of fire, Mothra, the whole, being a larva going in, just really, really great. Yeah, but go ahead. I'll just make comments.
Yeah, it's our first example of what does a modern version of all these characters look like?
Yeah.
And I was the most excited to rewatch this one and appreciate all the characters I'm seeing. Really cool. This movie sacrifices human storytelling for kaiju lore and face-offs. That is the purpose of it. Its goal is to bring as many kaiju in and come up with a reason for as many of them to be fighting each other as possible. They picked kind of a top 4 or 5 that were going to be engaging in final fights. It's really cool to see a modern version of all these characters. So this is a lore-heavy movie. The humans add almost nothing to the movie. I said it last time. For me, takes a dip in quality honestly, for that reason, but...
Well, and for me, it's I don't even care. Other than the times where it's all right, just give me the monsters back. Let's move on to the next,
Yeah. I would just rather the movie be shorter and they find shorter pathways and less characters to do what they're already telling with the kaiju, because that's what it's about. This movie is about the kaiju.
Absolutely.
Why are you wasting time on characters that have no purpose and are just saying things, wasting our time? If you're gonna make a kaiju movie, make a kaiju movie.
Yeah. So well, and it's such that right there is such an interesting thing that maybe Avengers or Star Wars hasn't had to fight with so much, in that the people that do the fighting and all the cool shit are also the people that are involved in the story, or maybe falling in love or having struggles, or you know what I mean? And this is 2 separate conversations happening simultaneously on top of each other, and both of them have very different ideas of what the outcome is supposed to be. It's just and so then modern Hollywood tried to we've got to have some cool name that everybody knows. We got to have Millie Bobby Brown. We got to have Kyle Chandler.
There's a lot of familiar faces in this movie.
Yeah, it's just very interesting. We got to have frickin' what's his face, the new Verizon guy from what show is he on? The really annoying dude that Kyle Chandler's character can't stand. He's from not IT Crowd, not VoIP, not what is it?
Well, I guess that's in Godzilla versus Kong.
That's the Kong ones. Yeah. Anyways, doesn't matter.
I don't know
doesn't
what
matter.
About.
Onward.
Serizawa
the guy
is in this.
It's Serizawa's. Yep.
Sort of in it. He's there for sure. Definitely there for sure. He has a couple lines. It is. I saw a review. Someone said taking your only Japanese character and having him be the guy to volunteer to go take the nuke is wild. And I can't disagree. There's a deep irony there somehow.
Such a deep irony.
Why is he the guy? Okay, lore stuff. Things of interest that I wrote down. Giant monsters are officially called Titans. I don't think they used that word in the last film. They solidified it in this film. We're not calling them... They're definitely not calling them kaiju. We didn't expect that. They do use the word monster, but they kind of use the word monster to establish that they're going to refer to these creatures as Titans, and then they pretty much call them Titans from here on out. Mm-hmm. Lore creation. We have the original Godzilla roar in this movie. We did not have that in the last movie. At all, I don't think.
It's definitely tuned more to sound like the original this time.
Yeah,
the first one was there a little bit, but yeah, it's
we also have both original Godzilla music themes come in at key moments in this movie. We have a version or an orchestral version of a Mothra theme come in this movie, which I noticed for the first time. It's a little harder to recognize because, the Mothra theme is like two little pixies singing, whatever the right term is for the little ladies. But they got like a bit of it. They got they got that part.
Yeah.
Not really the rest of it. So it's like a slight reference.
I appreciate that, to be completely honest, especially the Mothra one. Like, just
enough.
Especially when it was, just enough, just a little like, hey, here she is.
Yep. And we have both Godzilla themes. We have the that one, and we also have the
I've always thought of that as the battle theme.
Yeah.
One is like the announcement theme, I guess, or the entrance
as he shows
theme or
up.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It rises from the
and
water.
Then the other is exactly. And then battle.
This movie establishes the concept of Monarch outposts. This idea that around the world there's like these shield agency buildings. I mean, Monarch outposts. They're like the local branch of the organization it's kind of like a local base that you could stop by, kind of a thing.
And this is also where they establish the idea that, like, when Godzilla arrived, even though it was a surprise to a lot of people, it was not a surprise to Monarch, and they'd been tracking him and all of these other kaiju for a long time, and all this infrastructure already existed, kind of. You know what I mean?
A while.
Like, they weren't necessarily ready for an event like the first movie, or certainly not this King of the Monsters scenario, but like the idea of these things existing was not completely foreign to the powers that be, which is a very different cut from all the other Godzilla movies, pretty much.
Yeah, they've been prepared, and we know more about that from the Monarch show, where they've been delving into things for a while. Some of that is retconning, but the idea is that Monarch's been around since the 50s, since the first appearance of Godzilla, and they've been trying to figure out how to be prepared for a long time. It didn't go well in 2014, and that whole thing in San Francisco, but, they're still in it. As you mentioned, tracking Godzilla, they state partway in this movie, they're like, oh yeah, we're using bioacoustics, and we can actually track Godzilla's location and even his vitals using bioacoustics. A little hand wavy, but the idea is they've keyed in on like his alpha frequency or some BS like that. So they know where he is, and they have an idea of his vitals and like other stats. I can't remember what movie where they were tracking like some vitals and even like some radiation levels on Godzilla back in the 90s, or was it I forget. In this movie, they're using bioacoustics. He's just because he starts to become unstable and stuff like that. They're tracking. I guess I'll jump ahead, but like at the end of this movie, this is a reference to Serizawa's got that lizard juiced, which was our title of our first episode, but this, which is just a funny line, man. I wrote down here, Godzilla is too juiced and is in danger of exploding. It is very much the same play as, I don't remember which movie it was, where he was so radioactive that he basically was like a bomb.
Turns red and starts melting. Yeah.
In this movie, but it's like the other movie.
He does it in the that's what I'm talking about. It is a direct reference to
where he's so
Destroya?
Radioactive. They're worried that he's going to explode, and they're trying to figure out how to get him away from the city.
It's Godzilla versus Destroya.
Yeah. So,
and he
clear
actually
reference.
it's the same thing in that movie. He starts melting in that movie too. Like it's definitely
crazy.
direct reference. Yeah. I love it, dude. Where he's just so overpowered.
He's so radioactive at the end of this film that like everything around him is just like liquefying around him. It looks so cool.
Yeah. And he like charges up, goes to do the blast, and it's just a giant like ball of energy that explodes
just a
out from
shockwave.
around him, like just, and it melts Ghidorah's wings. It falls over. The two heads start melting, and So what's really interesting though is that, like it's never covered, but Godzilla like. He has this meltdown and still somehow self-contains all of it because that city should have been gone.
He keeps it inside,
at the end of that movie. Exactly. So
Seems to have more control than older Godzillas. He seems to have a lot of intentionality between his inhabiting of radioactivity.
Yeah.
Rolling back the clock. I only wrote this down because Millie Bobby Brown was in it, and at the time was really known for Stranger Things and not much else. The science teacher from Stranger Things is also briefly in this. Emphasis on briefly.
Really?
Yeah, he gets shot in the head pretty much immediately when that guy comes in.
Guy.
But he's in it for like 3 minutes. I noticed those things. And I'm like, hey, like two people who very recently were working together on a different set are also working together on this set. That must have been fun for them. And of course, he gets shot in the head. A new thing, Mothra larvae can stand up on end and like move around and stuff. We're not relegated to a design that's on wheels and is like rolling around like a caterpillar.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a real caterpillar larva.
Yeah, and it's like rearing up in the air and it's like moving around and stuff and it's like so interesting. Mothra's silk has a lot more impact. You know? You watch like those old movies and it's like just a lot of silly string spraying around and asbestos and whatever, it probably was.
Yeah. Well, and it is, probably. And it's crazy that like there was the idea that it was supposed to be powerful because eventually it would, cover Godzilla or whatever she was spraying, and it would eventually be unable to move. But
this is more like
this is more Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say literally like Tobey Maguire,
literally like
where like a Mothra like spits these little bits and like sticking things to walls and trapping a leg and things like that. Targeted.
Oh, she pins the three
effective.
Ghidorah heads to the
later in the movie.
Building. Fuck.
It's just like a way more useful thing.
Yeah.
The alpha frequency sound control idea is like, I think, really interesting. Like a new way of finding a way to control creatures by broadcasting the sound that makes them chill out because it's like it's acting as top dog, so they like stand down. Like that's the idea. It's not like literally controlling them. It's more just like, hey, back off. Like I'm the alpha. That kind of an approach.
And it was also why Ghidorah got so angry about it, because it was able to emit that frequency like Godzilla. Essentially they were like
it's competition, really.
So
competition for alpha, like all alphas.
And then what ended up being the third frequency that they needed to make that whole project work was the human alpha frequency. And so that, just kind of interesting. It was like a mix of Godzilla and human and something else. I don't know. They never really finally finished it, but
let's see. I wrote down in my notes, but I have a better list here in ChatGPT. There's a scene where they have a tablet and they're going through Titans that they're tracking, So all of them, the way they identify them is in Latin. They have Titanus, and then the Latin name of the Titan. So like Mothra is Titanus Masura.
Masura, Gojira.
Yeah, Titanus, Gojira, exactly. So they're going through and they're scrolling through on this tablet like these different names, and I was like pausing the screen and writing them down. I'm like, ooh, let's write down all these Titans that they're identifying. So the ones that they showed on that tablet in that moment was Mothra, Rodan, Gojira. I'm gonna call it Scylla, Scylla, and it's kind of the one that's kind of like spider looking.
Scylla. Yeah,
Scylla,
I don't know
maybe?
how they say it either. That's a brand new.
Yep, that's created.
Kaiju to the
Kong
MonsterVerse.
and Methuselah. Methuselah is sort of like a mountain shaped guy. But there are elsewhere throughout the film, there are up to 17 Titans referenced in this film. I don't know if you've ever looked at the full list. We only see some of them on screen, unfortunately. So let's see. So the cameo Titans that we see in this film, we see Behemoth, Scylla, and Methuselah. Because there's a few brief scenes of like Titans like waking up. There's some scenes of like some rampage happening, and it's just like a brief shot. They don't really show it.
And then there's the very end where they kind of show up to bow to Godzilla.
The main ones, of course, you see are Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and of course King Ghidorah, which initially in the film they're calling it Monster Zero.
Monster
and
Zero.
And then there's like just a whole bunch of stupid dialogue and lore dump where they're like, oh, actually there's this ancient thing and it's from the stars and it's not from Earth, and the ancient people called him King Ghidorah, and then now they call it King Ghidorah from that point on. But the other I wanted to mention the other Titans that we did not see.
Do you remember
screen.
Monster Zero? Like that's another reference to the original monster. Like in the first movie, he was called Monster Zero by the aliens
in
on
54.
the moon. Not in 54, because Ghidorah's not in 54.
Astro Monster?
Godzilla. Yeah, in Astro Monster, he's known as Monster Zero.
I already forgot that. So in MonsterVerse lore, there's these other Titans. So Kong was, of course, mentioned. He's not in this film. There's Leviathan, Bunyip, Tiamat. Tiamat we see in the next movie. Typhon, Sekhmet, which is like an Egyptian thing. Abaddon, Quetzalcoatl, which is South America. Yamata no Orochi, Kraken, and Mokele Mbebe. And so I was like in this ChatGPT thread, I was like trying to pull up images of what these things look like. It was kind of cool. Yeah, fun stuff. But it was kind of interesting to see like where they pulled this from. So like obviously like the main ones are classic Toho Kaiju. Scylla, Methuselah, Behemoth, those are like MonsterVerse originals. A lot of the other ones that they were like using to like populate screens or didn't necessarily do anything with, but they just sort of like invented lore around them. A lot of them they seem to really pull from like local mythology, cryptids. They clearly like did some research on like what are like some cryptids or like some mythological creatures in different cultures that we could sort of like turn into our version of a Titan that maybe comes from that. The idea being like that the stories culture tell about these mythological creatures, maybe they're actually referring to a real thing, and those stories come from somewhere, you know. So yeah, I did a little bit deep dive there. That I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Something that I've started to pick up, and I know that they are like, I've always picked up on, and now I see that we are, now hindsight is 2020, and we know what the next film is going to be titled. Like, there's a few references in lore early on to like Monster Zero being from the stars or not from here. There's another short, quick, like it's like maybe a newspaper, like something that goes by that like Mothra. They found Mothra on the moon. And then they call it's in Godzilla X Kong, I think. Godzilla is called the god who ate a star. And so there's like all of this like very consistent, very purposeful like references back to space so that they can bring things in from space eventually without it being completely out of nowhere, because things showed up from space completely out of nowhere with just like, hey, we're aliens from a random planet, and or like, oh, like maybe some of Godzilla's DNA got sent out into space or something. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to. I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is for the end for me to say for my general overview thing. But anyway, it's cool to see them like not only working in old lore and trying to make sure that they stay faithful to Toho, but also creating their own lore and not just glomming onto the old stuff and like just beating a dead horse, essentially. You know what I mean? I think they're striking a really good balance of honoring the history of Godzilla and creating their own, because they're trying to make a universe out of it. They're trying to make a Star Wars universe or a Marvel, make it feel like its own world kind of thing. So,
yeah, these movies are popular too. People are into them.
Are they? Nice.
I have friends who are like, oh, I want to watch, watch those MonsterVerse movies or rewatch. Like they're kind of cool, Yeah,
that's really cool. I have no frame of reference for how popular any of this stuff is because it has never been popular in my life. Like, and it is now, but like coming up, like as a kid, like nobody I knew watched any of this stuff. Or like,
I have friends who went to see Shin Godzilla and saw -1, but I don't know about anything beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool. The whole like Ghidorah's frozen in ice thing. It reminded me very much of Final Wars where they had a base and it was down in the South Pole and they had Godzilla frozen down there and they were keeping tabs. I don't remember if they like discovered Ghidorah there or what the deal was, but they clearly built a base around the fact they were keeping tabs on this thing. And then Vera, whatever her name is, decided to release it and will not rehash the first time we talked about this movie, but whatever. She did things and then made some vague excuses and Ghidorah's out and we have an excuse for Godzilla and Ghidorah to fight. Yeah, it's really cool to see these characters. The visual effects is not as good in these movies, unfortunately. I don't know if it's the resolution, like the texture resolution or what it is, but some of these, they look a little plasticky or they look almost like a really advanced toy. Like the textural element that makes it look like a real animal isn't quite there.
Yeah, which is a bummer.
And that like takes me out of it a little bit. Something I was noticing is Ghidorah head movement. There's a lot of times where he's moving more like a dragon in this film than we've seen him in all of the ones before. But there's moments where he's like kind of crawling forward, head all the way out, and then he'll like rear up on his hind legs, like get that height. I feel like before he was just kind of always parked there on the hind legs, and that's probably because it was operated by 30 people or whatever. And it couldn't really move around.
Insanely hard to move, exactly.
Yeah, that's probably why. But It is.
Yeah.
That, I think that brings some realism. Ghidorah's tail spikes like move around. They're like flexing and like, you know, pulling in, splaying out. Almost like dinosaurs that have like the spiky tail, almost like that. That was a cool idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if there was like spikes on Ghidorah's tails in the past or not, but
yes, there is. Yep.
there was some close-up shots of like them moving and stuff, and that's cool. We got some mentions of Hollow Earth in this movie. I don't remember when or where. First time they mentioned that idea. They clearly haven't like...
It is it's one of those like, hey, Godzilla was here and now he's here kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And what's his face? Serizawa's got that lizard juice guy. He is all like, see, it's Hollow Earth. I told you, like... freaks out about
the, they're like referencing like they'd been having some conversation about it or something.
Yeah. And he theorized. I noticed it because we watched these movies so quickly, like, you know, just like 4 in a row basically. Like he says Dr. Lind was right. Did
he really?
A Hollow Earth. I'm pretty dang sure he says Dr. Lind was right.
Yeah, let's verify
because that's the name of the dude in
that is better than if he really did say that. Because Lind kind of felt like he came out of nowhere for me in the next film. But I'm also like contextualizing this around the show.
Yeah, he did feel like one of those like, well, you're an expert and we just kind of happen to know about you. But at least he had written a book and it was, you know what I mean? Like it was a little more believable. Yeah.
I wrote down Rodan looks great and is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like a budget pterodactyl costume. It looks like its own thing. It clearly
title.
Yeah, it's more dragon-like or a little like there's all these head spikes. But the mouth, there's like a beak and the eyes, like they kept it bird-like, you know, to kind of keep that through line. But yeah, absolutely huge.
The fight scene at the end between Rodan and Mothra, where he's like snapping at her, like trying to get in her face, like meow, 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 and then she stabs him through the chest with her spike.
That was cool. That was like almost like a scorpion moment with this. Yeah, the spike. That was surprising. Rodan. I was paying attention to when Rodan first flies because I was thinking about like Rodan in the past. He's not moving at the speed of sound. There are not jet engine sounds. What they kept in was like the almost like the cloud of dust, or like the air is really being moved by his wings to show the effect he's having on and they had him do like some really low flyovers of cities to kind of emphasize that he's flying really fast, which is like his thing. Yeah. Definitely glad we went without like the jet engine sounds and whatever the heck it was in those old movies. So it's definitely an improvement.
I was wrong. He says something to Chen, who is the okay, so I know I mentioned this the first time, but you didn't have any idea, but they do a really cool, subtle nod to the Mothra twins in this film, in that there's like Dr. Chen, who is always on the ship with them. She's the little like Japanese girl. And she has a sister who is working on the Mothra project. She has a twin sister, and they show them like independently of each other, and like there's no way, like it's never like directly brought up, but it is like they are twins and both work for Monarch, and the one happens to work on the Mothra project.
Man, you just can't put any twins in these movies without it meaning something.
But I was wrong about the quote. He says, "I knew it, man. The vortex was a tunnel into Hollow Earth. It's a subterranean tunnel system that connects the entire planet. It doesn't matter. I knew it was right. I told you, Chen." and then
First time
she
it's
tells him to
mentioned.
shut up.
This is
Yeah.
2019, so they haven't really expanded on it yet. They do in the next film, of course. Yeah, cool stuff. More things. Oxygen Destroyer. With a 2-mile radius, which they
It's a 2-mile radius.
do detonate, and basically nothing happens. It's kind of a waste.
Great.
But hey, a
Great.
reference.
And
That's cool.
there's also those, like, they're like, what do you think is gonna, what's different than this time, or blah blah blah, and you're gonna drop this thing, or blah blah blah, and the one army guy who's like, well, this bomb is is so many more megatons, or blah blah blah. It makes the bomb they used in 54 look like a firecracker or something.
Yeah.
And then it still doesn't
did
work.
nothing.
Like, great.
Sick. We have Godzilla rip off a Ghidorah head, and then it freaking grows back. That's a new one.
Dude.
Pretty cool.
So great.
It would have been. I would have loved it if it had grown back and it had the derpy face from that meme. That would have been great. That would have been so funny, just for the memes. But yeah, that was cool. Just like grows back. Reminds me of the newest Predator movie.
Men in Black.
The newest Predator movie has like a creature that can like self-heal like that, and the way they did it
Nice.
visually, like the visual effects of it, like reattaching, reconnecting.
Yeah.
Because it was like
cool.
the thing I'm talking about is like literally a beheading, but then like the strands come and like meet, and it like the head pulls back and then reattach, and then you see all the sinews. It's like, it was really cool how they did it.
Nice.
Cool stuff. Ghidorah is not from Earth. This is the point of the movie where they mentioned that. Same as the lore. There's some shots of Mutos in this movie.
Wait, hang on. I totally just put something together.
Oh,
Maybe no, because that's too many. That's not long enough ago in the past.
Caleb, do you have ADHD?
I was just saying, like, undiagnosed, but something ain't right. So there's the thing in Godzilla X Kong where, like, they find the dang it, what's the name of the people, the ancient people,
The Iwi.
The Iwi people. They found that whole Iwi deal about like Mothra and an ancient fight and Scar King and blah blah blah, and they call Godzilla the god who ate a star. And I was like, oh, does that mean like? And I was like, is that a flashback to King of the Monsters where he like defeated Ghidorah and basically like absorbed all of that radiation and all of that, like, everything? Is that what that is? But no, that's too many. That would not be. That wouldn't be an ancient myth, and calling him a god who ate the star if it was just a reference to King of the Monsters. So, but anyways,
That's true. If only that were a connection. There's Mutos in this film. They don't really expand on it. It wasn't in the original list necessarily, but there's a shot of a Muto when the whole Fenway thing starts, and Millie Bobby Brown, or whatever the heck her character is doing her thing. Mm-hmm. There's like
Madison,
on like a TV screen or something. There's a Muto, and at the very end of the
it's
ending
just one
shot
of the ones that's
film,
attacking a random
there's
city.
a Muto that's like bowing down to Godzilla, and that was interesting because where did it come from? Like,
Well, there were multiple pods
were there more eggs
in the first movie in the Philippines.
Yeah, it's just I wish they'd connected that or explained it or something. I think it just kind of threw it in there because they already had a model for that character.
Yeah,
and
they had it exactly, exactly. But like,
We
if you
spent all
think
this time
about it,
designing
like,
this thing.
if you think about it, that they are a species that existed, and they're another one of these species that have been awoken, right? So, like,
Sure.
it could have just been this one was still dormant and then was awoken by Ghidorah or whatever when it started to do its thing. So,
I don't know if I noticed it. I'm sure I noticed it the first time, but I like that Serizawa said goodbye in Japanese. It's kind of sad. It's the only time he had a reason. Well, he didn't. I don't know. It's the only time the Japanese character spoke Japanese
chose to use
in a film based on a historic Japanese franchise. Like, I think we could have done better, but it was fun after a sea of like English and not even the most interesting English dialogue, having like a line in Japanese again. That was nice. I wrote down, it seems like Ghidorah's electricity seems to have more of an incendiary impact. So like in the past, like his lightning effect, it was more like, Sith Lords with yellow lightning, and it would just kind of like connect with the target or like bounce off the buildings or whatever. This electricity, like when it hits things, there's explosions and there's fire, and it seems like a more justifiable opponent to the atomic breath, I think, than
it's like there's
sort of the zappiness of the original.
Exactly. It behaves more like,
it's like grounded.
It behaves more like it behaves more like his atomic breath, like Godzilla's atomic breath, than it does actual electricity. If that makes sense, like, because actual electricity would do what what Ghidorah's lightning bolts did in the old films, like just kind of,
it wouldn't cause explosions necessarily.
Yeah, but lightning.
They found a sweet spot where it was almost like fire.
Yeah, actual lightning causes explosions, but like just electricity, like maybe arcing from something.
Yeah,
does the kind of like Sith like thing. So yeah, that's great.
So we got we already talked about Godzilla's too juiced. He's in danger of exploding. He like glows red and orange. Everything's melting. There's like the radial explosion thing. It looks so cool.
Yeah. That scene where it's low on the ground and you just see like it starts with it's a building that is already kind of destroyed, and it goes from building to, you see heat waves to melting red, and then his leg comes into view and everything just it's like melted. It starts melting, and then just because he got that much closer, it just is done. It's gone. Like, so cool, the amount of like power that they're able to convey just from that. Like, and it's interesting that it also gives me the like horror heebie-jeebies a little bit too, not as much as the last movie did, but it does give me that like and it's interesting to me because I've also always felt that way about like, and maybe it's because I started watching these movies at such a young age, but like anytime radioactivity or like nuclear energy or like nuclear things have been talked about, or especially if I'm reading about disasters or something, I've always felt very, very uneasy about nuclear energy and like radiation in general. And have also like watching, I think of the show Chernobyl, watching the show Chernobyl or reading about the Chernobyl disaster has always given me the horror heebie-jeebies, like, I can't believe we did this to ourselves kind of thing, which is what these movies were supposed to convey. I can't believe we've done this terrible thing to ourselves, and this is the result, But yeah, just that moment of like, he's gone so powerful that it's just leaking out of him. And it also made me think of that moment in Shin Godzilla after his first attack, and they like realize what his radiation half-life is and how quickly it falls off. But that's a totally different thing. So yeah, anyways,
Godzilla versus Kong.
I have like
5 to 6 things for each of these movies. Not much.
Cool. Let's roll.
I don't like them as much.
I don't either.
But I still have Godzilla vs. Kong rated higher than King of the Monsters, which is probably crazy to you. But I think it's because the human storytelling is back a little bit, and it's a little bit more cohesive. on the human side of things. There's actually a purpose to some of the characters and the relationships.
Exactly. It's not just
You've
like,
got the little girl, and there's that whole thing going on where she has a connection to Kong. And Gia or whatever, and he can speak sign language and can communicate with Kong. She becomes an important part of certain moments in the story where she's able to communicate with Kong. That's purposeful. There's like a reason for her to be there, and there's also kind of the whole aspect of belonging, the little girl belonging, and like she's with this sort of a surrogate mom, if you will, but she's not really from there. Like she just kind of like adopted her, sort of. There's that. Those seeds are planted for the fourth movie, but so yeah, there's not as much lore things in this movie. That's mostly what I was writing down and why I wanted to rewatch these. There's this Lind guy. He said he used to work for Monarch. And he also has a Hollow Earth theory that he like wrote a book about. So it's like a little vague.
Well, and it sounds like they talk about his brother actually making a trip into Hollow Earth and not surviving it.
Really?
Yeah.
So it raises more questions than answers questions, because Monarch already has... I don't know. I guess probably the justification is that we're at the theory level of Hollow Earth, and not really anything's been done about it yet. We could theorize because that other guy in the last movie said he had a theory about it, but it just sounded like it was just conversation about it, or it was like speculation, really, and they hadn't like really truly done anything scientific or invested or try to find how to get there or any of that kind of stuff. The problem is that in the Monarch show, they're like interacting with Hollow Earth and like going there as early as like 2015. Theoretically, Monarch is doing this, or people are doing it without Monarch's knowledge. So that either implies that there's separation within the Monarch organization where some people know about it and are dealing with it and some people don't. There's some gaps in the storytelling.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
But yeah, especially having like been watching the Monarch show recently, rewatching this, I'm like, that doesn't quite mesh really with what they're doing over there, but all right. So... Also, that dude is tall. Skarsgårds are all crazy tall.
Yeah.
I mean, Papa Skarsgård, he's in so many things. He's like 6'3".
Yeah.
Like, they don't always shoot him so he looks tall, but he really is taller than a lot of people.
He's a big
And
dude.
then this guy, like Alexander and Bill, who's best known for playing Pennywise in the newer It movies, which are fantastic if you've never seen them. They're both 6'6", so Pennywise is huge. It's amazing the way he plays it. But yeah, so I mean, I wrote down that Gia seems based on and dressed like the Shobijin. She's hanging out with her adoptive mom, but the clothes she's wearing aren't like really modern girl clothes.
She's from Skull Island, so
yeah, she's sort of like wearing, she's like going to school with the other kids, but she's sort of wearing Skull Island clothes. It's interesting.
She's still representing her culture.
Yeah, which maybe that's believable, maybe that isn't, but it seems obvious that we, the audience, are supposed to be presented with the idea early on that, hey, she's supposed to sort of remind us of the Shobijin, even though that storyline doesn't really pay off until the next movie.
Right.
They're planting those seeds, and yeah, that's the idea. I guess this is also criticism. Andrews, which is her mom, adoptive mom, scientist lady, she says that she spent 10 years on Skull Island studying Kong. Like, that's her whole thing, is that she was on Skull Island studying Kong, and she's like supposed to be the Kong expert. I guess Gia would also be a Kong expert, but again, like right now in the Monarch series, they're going on to Skull Island and they're going in and out of Hollow Earth in, I don't know, 2015, 2016. So where is this Andrew's character then? It's like they've kind of forgot about these things that they said.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because, Andrew's in theory should have
It's like
been
if
there
she
at
were
that
there
time
for 10
and
years
been
when
in
they
the
go to
show.
Skull Island,
Like,
then she should be.
There's some holes in the plot here, but that's fine. It's just things that I was noticing because we're putting all the pieces together. The next thing I have written down is heck yes, Mecha Godzilla. Because it's freaking sick. I love how they did all that. The eye looks cool. I like how they almost like when Godzilla is charging up to do his atomic breath and the spikes line up. They did this thing where like the spikes are kind of like clicking into place as he stands up. It's kind of like a similar animation that they went with. Yeah. The idea of building anticipation as it rises to see the full thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I loved the, like, they're controlling it via DNA. This time it's a Ghidorah skull as opposed to the skeleton of the original Godzilla or whatever. But like,
which by the way was an after the credits scene of King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
If you didn't watch that far, there's a scene where like, there's an after the credits scene, King of the Monsters, which maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, where like it's like a black market sale of a Ghidorah head to the Apex guy.
The dude from Apex? Really?
Yeah. The guy who represents Apex and King of the Monsters, the guy with the British accent and the white hair and the beard. It's a very brief scene and it adds very little, but it's where they got that Ghidorah head from. So, am I blowing your mind
I'm
right
watching
now?
it right now.
Nice.
Pause. I'm a Tippy-Toe Lemon Tree. Yeah. We'll take it. Crazy.
Tippy-Toe Lemon Tree.
But yeah.
Yeah, so there's cool. After credit scene. That's where they got the Godzilla or the Ghidorah head.
Ghidorah skull.
They have like all these these wires and pipes and stuff running into, and they have like these headset things, almost like zappy head control things, where they're like somehow using like their minds to control.
Yeah, I mean it's very Evangelion. It's very mech, like it's a very established like mech kind of idea of somebody controlling this thing with his brain.
Love the idea of how all kind of the fights went. Kong was able to be
I like
helpful.
the idea of like Godzilla and Kong like coming to terms with each other and how it was going to be, and it didn't, like they found a way to make it feel animalistic and not just these animals, or not just them like talking to each other basically.
Was it this movie where Godzilla has his like foot on Kong's chest and like they kind of come to a face-to-face agreement silently, and then Godzilla just leaves? Like, it doesn't feel like you had to kill him. It's kind of like, all right, I won. I'm the best.
I've proven my point. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a thing. That's nice. Mecha Godzilla climbing out of the mountain to join the fight was pretty cool.
Yep.
He kind of runs in. There's like these rockets released from like his shoulders. It's not like the old Mecha Godzilla where it's sort of like a transformer, and it's like, here are all the gadgets that it has and the things that it can do that you see at various points. It's just more like a giant robot running around and fighting. that I can't remember like specific ability reveals where it's like really
the tail is pretty sweet. The tail like had spikes on it, but then it would spin, and he tried to like put it in Kong's face a couple times.
It's a cool design.
Yeah, it's cool design. I thought they finished it off in a cool way. And I thought this time around, this is different from, I think, the last time we talked about this movie, but the fight scene in Hong Kong amongst the neon is actually kind of a refreshing way to do a night battle scene.
So everything's lit.
Between these two kaiju. Yeah, and it's not just a day scene, and it's not just a standard, we're getting flashes of things in the dark, or our light sources are fire or lights from the military or something. You know what I mean?
Still so clearly different from 2014. Like, everything about it is...
Yeah.
Just very different. It's a different genre of movie, really. The only other really thing that I wrote down, it feels like Mechagodzilla's arms are longer than like other versions. He can really reach and grab, and he has a bit of a wingspan to him. Or like if you look at Godzilla, his arms are kind of shorter, stubbier.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla suffers less from the T-Rex problem.
So in that sense... in that sense, he doesn't look exactly like Godzilla. He's proportioned a little bit differently. I'm not saying it's a pro or con, but like that, even like that, the test shot where we first see him and he like rips open that skull cracker, like the wingspan, like the reach is crazy. I'm like, those lungs are definitely longer
hold
than
that
Godzilla's
thing wide
arms.
open and then just like beam right down the middle of it. It was a pretty cool
with a laser,
cool
and that comes out of his throat too.
Yeah.
Godzilla x Kong.
Godzilla x Kong, the new empire.
The new empire.
The new empire.
I also was noticing the way they have it spelled out here on Letterbox is it's not even the letter X. They have like the multiplication symbol. Which, like, as I look at the marketing, I'm like, is that what the X was supposed to mean? It's like we're multiplying the effect of Godzilla and Kong times each other.
Godzilla times Kong.
The idea being collaboration. Well, I mean, obviously it's not Godzilla versus Kong, so clearly the name change implied this isn't Godzilla versus Kong necessarily. As we learn in the movie, like they end up working together, really. But oh man, this movie really jumps the shark. I said it last time. It's wild.
Yeah, dude. It's wild.
Yeah. The CG is weird looking. There's a lot of bad animation. Looking. It's tough.
They move way too quickly for how big they are.
Godzilla's are like running around like a lizard.
And I get that they were like, okay, well, he's got all this extra radiation and hopping and blah, 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 blah. But like,
not how it works.
It still is not. No, it's not. I noticed a couple, I feel like they tried to have a couple of Star Wars moments with maybe random little kaiju that are weird.
Somehow Kong returned.
Yeah, somehow Kong returned. No. Like, okay, so for instance, when Kong opening sequence and it's whatever it is when he defeats that pack of weird doggo things.
He's got all the logs
and then he rips the one apart, and then he cleans himself in the waterfall, and then he sits down to eat and gets distracted by what he thinks is the roar of another, like somebody from his family or whatever. It ends up being a frog. But then that weird little gator looking thing like pops up and steals half of his food. And he like fights with it for a second. He's like, hey, and then that thing gets a moment of like chomp and like, hey, hi, it's me, and then like runs away. Like they tried to do weird little like, hey, here's a cute little little moment, little Star Wars, like, hey, here's a weird little side character, here's a weird little thing, amongst all the other ways that they just kind of didn't do this one really great. It was something I noticed this time.
The little ape still looks like Dobby somehow.
Yeah.
Something's,
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
He's a free ape
off.
for sure. Yeah.
He's a free ape for sure. Title. Just kidding. I'm probably not going to use any of those titles because I think the title of this probably just needs to be MonsterVerse Revisited.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah. We'll just put them in the description of the show notes.
Titles we weren't able to use. I should put the titles we didn't use in the other descriptions. Well,
That's not a bad idea.
Hindsight is 2020. Do you have things? I've done 8 things.
No, I think I've kind of already talked about it, and I'll just comment as you go.
We have Scylla in Rome, the spidery looking
That's
guy.
a cool fight.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed those shots a little bit. I mean, they weren't. This movie isn't great. I enjoyed them.
Like a crab with a squid for a head, and it was really cool.
It's a cool design. I was enjoying watching those scenes and enjoying multiple times in the movie we see Godzilla is using the Coliseum as like a dog bed. He curls up inside of it. It's like where he decides to go to sleep for some reason. It was fun watching those scenes because I went to Rome recently and I was like, oh wow, and I was just thinking about all these ancient buildings being destroyed, and it hurt me a little bit to think about.
Yeah. When I was watching this movie earlier today, everybody had been napping, and Sam brought the kids down or whatever and watched the last 15 minutes with me or whatever, and they get to that point where he curls up into the Coliseum again like a dog bed, and Sam went, "Oh, he just gonna take a little nappy." Oh, you can walk comfortable there.
Basically. Gia's having these weird visions in this movie. She's scribbling on paper a little bit like Will in Stranger Things, writing down dark visions and things. A lot of her arc in this movie, up until the reveals later, reminded me a little bit of that psychic girl in the Heisei era, who just seemed to be well, she wouldn't there wouldn't be visions in dream sequences or her creating artwork. She would just say prophetic things, but the idea being there's something going on with this girl, and she seems to be having some kind of clairvoyant moments, perhaps we could say. And I wonder if that was an influence. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. The idea of having a regular recurring character who is sort of clairvoyant or psychic in some way and is having some kind of visions about a thing that's going to happen or might happen or whatever. Yeah.
And someone who was also connected to Mothra too a little bit, because there's moments where
well, she doesn't know that
the
yet.
Shobijin. Well, I know she doesn't know that yet either, but there are also times where the Shobijin show up and are like, "Hey, this is going to happen because of this, this, and this," or and it's again not conveyed in a dream sequence, but it is conveyed in a we have this feeling this is going to happen, and we know because of blah blah blah. Whereas Gia is mute and can't talk and is being given these visions of just kind of that's cool.
We do have these Mothra ancient people ruins that we encounter on the land down under. There's these things carved in the walls, things that
I'm led to believe that those are iwi.
I think so, because then they go deeper, right? Or they go further in or whatever. They don't realize it at the time, but what's her name?
Dr. Andrews.
Andrews is just looking at carvings on the wall and spouting dialogue about what it means without any explanation. But
well, there's no. She says that when they get into the middle of that room, because they follow the water down to wherever it was. When they get into the middle of that room, she starts reading. She goes, "This is Iwi text here in the middle," and she starts reading that.
Yeah,
and then I think she just kind of starts going around the room and reading the Iwi
she's
text
just
off the
saying
wall.
things.
Right.
She just always knows things at the right moment. It's very convenient.
As you know, Bob.
But yeah, there's a like a Mothra carving in the wall. That's kind of cool. These are like little moments that are supposed to be reminiscent of like the Shobijin. Well, not necessarily the Shobijin, but the tribal people who worshipped Mothra back in the old movies. Definitely a clear reference to that.
Yep.
If I was picking up the lore correctly, the Iwi people, there's a lot of conversations that happen there. It seems like they're saying that all humans came from Hollow Earth as well. Had like populated the surface potentially.
Yeah, like everything came from Hollow Earth.
Yeah, because there were like there were other ruins, or there was some reason that they sort of implied that in the mythology of it. Where they've been down there. They're the original people. They've been there forever or whatever.
And I wonder, they never directly make that connection, but there's also like, to me, it kind of connects a little bit where in King of the Monsters, where they go down with Serizawa to deliver that nuke to Godzilla, and there's all of that like old... somebody's like, what is this, Mesopotamian? And somebody else is like, this is way older than that, dude. Like, just kind of weaves that together a little bit more too. Like they were maybe right on the doorstep of Hollow Earth there at the, when they found Godzilla there and delivered that nuke to him. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because there were all the structures down there and the like statues, and like Serizawa was walking up those steps to where Godzilla's sleeping in this volcano or wherever it was.
They really didn't expand on that very well.
No. And then they just
that was one of the coolest moments. It was like Atlantis or something.
Yeah.
Waste. This movie has like this white creature that is
Shimu.
I think it's called a frostbark.
I don't know what they call her.
Well, that's what ChatGPT told me.
Yeah.
It is called frostbark. It's like an aardvark, but it's a frostbark. That's the idea.
Okay.
Apparently.
Okay.
But it's huge. It's kind of mole-like.
Yeah.
Pangolin-ish.
Well, and it just kind of, it was like, to me, it was like frozen Godzilla, like her powers are, she's got that ice breath that kind of acts like the atomic breath. And
well, the shape is a little different. It's more like bowl,
not exactly
bowl-ish,
the same. Yeah.
But similarities to Godzilla, and there is some kind of an atomic breath kind of a thing that's happening, but it's frost instead of heat or whatever. We don't really know what power is it. They just kind of created this creature with no explanation, and then it's just kind of
they do talk about Kong having frostbite, and that's why he needs the
so it's definitely like
the glove that they keep in the armory. LOL.
Yeah, so funny. We have Iwi Mothra, kind of cool. They like. Apparently, Gia is like this chosen person. I roll. Only she can do the thing.
Neo, obviously,
because
she's Neo.
Important.
I thought the Cairo scene was pretty cool. Like Kong pops up to the surface.
Yeah.
Calls Godzilla.
Rest in peace to those pyramids,
jumps off that mountain.
They destroyed them in every way they could.
Rip. And then Gia shows up with Mothra, and Mothra's like, "No, bro, really? Like, listen. Hey, no. Like, Kong's right. We need to go." And then he's like, "All right, fine. Yeah, whatever." And then they all go.
I like the shot of Kong dragging Godzilla towards the hole by the tail. It's so funny. Of course, it doesn't work, but yeah, there's some
the charge up during that is pretty cool too. They follow it up his tail. Vroom, 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 vroom,
I love that sound. It's so good. Such a good idea.
It's such a great charge up.
We have all the scale issues in this movie. I'm repeating myself. I don't
we talked
care.
about that last time.
Like, down in Hollow Earth,
last time.
like, they don't really look very big. There's no context. But the worst is...
And it really is, just like you said, in all how they shoot it, because there are ways to show that much scale.
Yeah, unless
even
the trees down there are
just
bigger
nature
or
and
something.
stuff. Right, but like...
It's not interesting. But the bad ape, what's his name?
Scar King.
The Scar King or whatever his name is.
Is my microphone working? Scar King.
Scar King. He doesn't... I guess maybe he's as big as Kong down there. But like the second he shows up on that beach, he looks like twice as tall as he did before. Immediately.
Yeah.
It's just like the scale is so different. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the best movie. The only other thing I noticed was like during the fight, there's something with... So like Scar King has like this... It looks like the skeleton of a snake or something that he's using as a whip. And the tip of it is like this little frozen-y thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point at which that gets like ripped off or it's like out of his control or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Frostvark like is no longer under his control. It's like he was being mind controlled somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if we talked about that last time. Or if it was really clear in the movie at all how that mind control was happening. It seemed to coincide with that frozen-y daggery thing that was at the end of his skeleton whip. But there's a clear moment in the film where all of a sudden the Frostvark is like kind of shakes his head and he's like, "What's going on?" And then immediately sides against Scar King.
Yeah.
But it's like a mind control moment, which is a throwback lore thing as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do we control these creatures? This is Kaiju controlling Kaiju for the sake of, domination and evil oppression, or I don't know, like this. I had a weird moment where I was watching like the Scar King area, and there's like all these apes working as like slaves, and I was like, I know they're not going for a racial thing here, but like, I don't know. I can't help but feel like it doesn't play well.
Yeah. This is getting close.
Yeah. So
be careful.
Uncomfy. It just had like so many shots of like these dejected looks.
It's that whole like Shimu and Scar King and the battle that happened between Godzilla and why Scar King became a thing is explained in that whole thing that Dr. Andrews is supposedly just reading off the walls in that temple or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's basically that there was like, it used to be everything was in harmony, and then some of the great apes decided that they were better than humans and wanted to take over, and Scar King was the one that led that revolution, but lost and was imprisoned by Godzilla in that fiery realm of Hollow Earth, and somehow he still managed to imprison Shimu and take control of her.
Yeah.
I think that was actually part of what started his revolution, was he like found a way to control Shimu, and then Godzilla banished them all to that place or whatever. So
and by Shimu, you talk about Frostvark, right?
Yeah, if that's what you want to call her.
It's not the same thing as Shimu.
What's Shimu?
Isn't Shimu the like that god thing? What am I thinking of?
No, Shimo is the Frostvark.
Oh.
I was probably saying it wrong. It's Shimo.
Oh.
Shimo. It's literally Japanese for frost.
Well, then why, when I Google Frostvark, do I at another. This is weird. Like, I literally was Googling Frost Varg. Oh, this is different. Okay, sick. So ChatGPT just hallucinated then. The Frost Varg is in the MonsterVerse. It shows up in the it honestly looks a lot like Shima. It is in the Monarch show. It is in season
I know.
1.
Yeah, it's in season 1 for sure. Yep.
The effects and the shape of it is not that different than Shimo. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we got to wrap this up.
I have a couple things to just kind of, I think, wrap us up.
We're only a little longer than our recording time, unedited recording time for the Mothra trilogy for the 90s, which is a Patreon exclusive currently.
And I mean, we're talking about 4 movies here, trying our best.
So, doing pretty good is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think overall, as a vibe check for the entire franchise, like them taking the entire franchise and trying to now tell a story, a cohesive story, because the franchise has not told very many cohesive stories. If you think about it, there's not a lot of continuity. We start over a lot. And even when there is continuity, it doesn't really matter. They fixed a lot of issues for themselves by creating a world where things have already existed and we're not really watching them invent too many solutions out of thin air. Monarch is an established thing. We're using established weapons. We're put into the story multiple years into projects. Godzilla vs. Kong, the Apex thing. This is all 3 years after King of the Monsters or 5 years after King of the Monsters. They're kind of building on, we're being put back into the story in real time events and not just kind of creating a whole brand new world for every single thing. I also think that these battle scenes feel so good just because of modern VFX, but we really needed VFX to be here to be able to make these battle scenes feel so epic and not just be a side scroll wrestling match thing like they used to be. Part of it is we don't have guys in suits anymore, and part of it is that we can destroy stuff without having to actually build models or anything either too, but it's really cool to watch these battle scenes where we're seeing stuff get destroyed and monsters get the crap beat out of them. And that's just really, really fun. So I think as a vibe for the whole entire franchise and what Legendary is trying to do, they're staying pretty faithful. And they have not necessarily stayed in one vein. Like you said, 2014 is not proper, but it's very horror movie-esque. King of the Monsters moves into this rock'em sock'em. Dude, I've said this before about too. It was, Destroy All Monsters was the same way. This rock'em sock'em wrestling match. Let's get as many monsters in here, as much fighting as possible, as much epic as possible, and just blow it all up. And now I kind of see these Kong movies as a little bit of the was it the 60s or the 70s where things were kind of silly at the same time? Yeah. Of Godzilla doing random dances and silly dialogue and random music. And, they're doing that kind of stuff justice by being a little bit corny, by being a little bit I feel like they're going for a little bit of the Kong movies went for a little bit of a Guardians of the Galaxy feel too.
Interesting.
That kind of buddy, I don't want to say a buddy cop drama thing, Godzilla and Kong are buddy cops or something, but just out to stop the baddies, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of see them. I think they're doing a great job in general of like looking at the past and seeing what Toho has wanted to do and doing it in an American way. So, but it's just cool to see that there are nerds working on nerd stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's very evident, at least.
Yeah, you could tell they're into it.
Like all the things that fall short and everything. Exactly, they're into it, and like they are, for what I can tell, these people are enjoying making this stuff as much as we're enjoying consuming it. So, if not more.
Yeah.
So, I'm really happy with the MonsterVerse in general. And it can get nitpicky about each film, and I think that's worth doing. But I'm really glad that America has done so well with these films after mishandling them in so many different ways since the 50s. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on the MonsterVerse.
My thoughts on the MonsterVerse, I think I would say I really like where they've gone with the lore. I haven't really enjoyed the movies as much. I would have loved to see the direction of the movies continue in the Gareth Edwards direction. And them all kind of be told that way. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
I'm really hoping this Kong thing is it's a trilogy, and then we're gonna like
do something else.
Hopefully on to something else after that. But
I think I think the Monarch show is good. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. And I feel there's a bit of irony in the fact that the show is more consistently, to me, the show is more consistently great than the movies. Okay, I think it's
interesting when you got that Apple money behind you, man, what you can do.
Yeah, it says something about the creative direction and the writing good story. Now, I will say I think the first season of Monarch was maybe a little better written than currently where season 2 has gone. But, it's early on in the season at this point. There's only 2 episodes so far. Still fine.
See, and I'm the kind of person where it's like, I want to watch that weekly, but I'm not I would just rather, I'll probably wait until all of season 2 is out for Monarch and just watch it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like, it feels more manageable to me when I can just watch an episode a week.
That's fair.
If there's a whole season of something, it gets put off a lot longer because I'm like, I have to find time to binge a whole season at once, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Anyways,
especially when they are, because they're longer episodes, aren't they? They're 45 minutes, right?
Oh, they're an hour. Yeah. It varies. Nice. On streaming. Apple has a great track record with greenlighting great shows. Their shows a lot of their shows are really good.
They sure have a good track record.
And then their movies are okay. So yeah. Good stuff.
Cool, dude. So if you were gonna say overall, these 4 films as just kind of a feeling out of 5, how many stars would you give?
Oh, if I summed them all?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to not compare to other things. I'd say they're a solid 7 out of 10.
I could agree with that.
I think a lot of the Godzilla movies to me are a 6 out of 10 at best. And then Shin Godzilla and Godzilla Minus One are so much higher.
Yeah.
Godzilla Minus One is objectively a great movie on all beats. It is executed well film. In all directions. Shin Godzilla is extremely cool, but the stuff outside of Godzilla just isn't that interesting. It's a lot of bureaucratic stuff, which like it's hard to make bureaucracy and governmental decisions interesting. It's hard to do that.
It's hard to make red tape interesting.
Yeah, you have to have like some tension or like a character that like is going against the grain or like something. You need some kind of counterpoint to like introduce something that's interesting to something that by itself is not that interesting. So
yeah.
But
yep.
On that note, we recently discovered there's a black and white version of Shin Godzilla. Have you watched it yet?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I jumped. Yeah, dude, I watched some.
I'll have to watch it at some point. It looks like it's pretty cool.
It's just so.
Yeah.
It's striking in a different way, watching things in black and white like that. And that's how I felt about -1 as well. Godzilla -1 was just like Godzilla -1 minus color was so much. It's just striking in a different way.
Yeah.
I had no idea the monochromatic one was a thing either. So
yeah,
I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, ran across it. All right, let's wrap up this thing.
Let's do it. This is the One About Godzilla Movies. You can find our Patreon at patreon.com/theoneaboutgodzillamovies. Yes, you've got to spell it all out, and no, I don't care. We thank you for making it this far. We thank you for listening. And unless you have anything else to say, Brian, I would like to invite you to join us next time for the final episode in the We're Going to Watch All of the Godzilla Movies series, where we reveal our individual top 4 Godzilla movies and talk about them in depth. So, anything else to say, Brian?
I can't wait to rewatch Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1 for our next episode, because those are 2 of my picks.
Yeah, dude. It's going to be great.
All right.
All right, that's it. Okay, bye.